Hello and welcome to the vlog of Rhonda's Readings. Today is a recipe vlog, being Friday. Today's recipe is pork and pistachio nut terrine. This recipe is inspired by the Pickled Sisters Cafe in Waganya in Victoria. If you're near there or near Corowa, or you're travelling somewhere in between, make a point of stopping there. The food is always amazing. The service is always amazing, led by Marion and her staff. They have, I think, about 3 or 4 different types of terrines. They've also got a cooking making class to make terrines. We've never actually done that. That's on my bucket list. But this is just my take on a terrine. These are my ingredients for my terrine. I have some prosciutto sheets. I'm using that as an alternative to bacon. I'm also meant to use olive oil, but I'm going to use this oil. Need an onion finely chopped, so that's my 1 onion finely chopped. It was too much for 1 container. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of garlic. Also, we need 1/3 cup of white wine, which we don't have. But what we're going to use instead is just some port. I might use a bit of this white chocolate port, so it means it's going to taste sweet. So I could use that, or I could just use some standard pork. We also need 40 grams of spinach leaves chopped. So there are spinach leaves. Haven't chopped that yet, but that's okay. 500 grams of pork mince. So it's meant to be pork mince, but we've got pork that we need to use, so that's why I've got that there. 1/4 cup of dried cranberries, so we have this here. 1/4 cup of shelled pistachios, so again, that's something else we've got to use. That's why I'm basically cooking this dish, because I need to use these ingredients. Need to have an egg lightly beaten. That's obviously not beaten, it's still in the shell. 2 tablespoons of thyme, but I'm just going to use mixed herbs for that. I'm going to use this, just mix the spices. So they're my ingredients. And you basically serve it with some sort of salad or chutney, but they're our ingredients. What I need to do is crush the pistachios. So I'm just going to crush it like this. So I possibly have a different technique than you would use to crush the pistachios. We do have a mortar pestle, but it's always awful cleaning it, and this is just a bag that we can throw out. So just chopping up the spinach leaves. We preheat the oven to 160 degrees. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, this is our little cooking tray. I'm meant to line it with bacon, but as I said, we have prosciutto. So I'm putting prosciutto in the bottom just to line the tray. So these are long sheets. And I'm just going to line this. So I'm actually going to use all of the prosciutto. And I'm just going to try to sort of like crisscross it. What we've done is lined it like that with them draped over, so I can then put those on the top. Alright, so that sounds good. I've just got a little pan here. I'm just going to fry. So I need to heat up the oil and then the onions. I just have the oil now and onions cooking. Also got a couple of little spoonfuls of garlic. So mixing that in. Just frying that off now. Okay, so just frying that off. Okay, so now I've got to add the wine. So it's about 1/3 cup. I don't have white wine, so I'm using a little bit of white chocolate port. It's just a white beverage because it's pork. Also going to add this, because we have this, and I'd rather drink the white chocolate port than this on its own, so I'm adding this one to it. So this is brandy orange sauce. So that's just about used it all, I think. Okay, so I can turn that heat down a bit, and then I'm going to add the spinach. So this is the chopped up 40 grams of spinach. And I've turned the heat off now. I do have to add the rest of the ingredients. It's supposed to be in a separate bowl, but I'm just going to let this one cool and then add it to this. Okay, so that's heat's off now. So now we'll start incorporating the other ingredients. So we're starting to add the 400 grams of pork. So that's obviously not minced pork. We've just got pork that we've cooked because we've got to use it. If you didn't have that, you could even use ham or something like that. And also with the pork, because we weren't using minced meat, minced pork, we actually had pork meat that we were cutting up. Because we used pork meat already cooked and just sitting in the fridge, obviously when that just sits there, you can get the end bits that are a bit sort of wobbly, but they're quite gelatinous. So for the purposes of making terrine, that's what we want. So please include those bits anyway. And you know, you can include fatty bits as well, because obviously it's going in a terrine. So I could have actually mixed up the pork. I could have cut the pork up a bit finer, but I'm not fussed about that. But if that's your personal preference, if you want it more like fine dining, then you would do that. Okay, so what I also combined to that is, what other cranberries? Also adding the cranberries, mixing that in. Also adding the pistachios. So remember how we did that? Just bang the crap out of it, and you can then just throw out the bag. Okay, so that's our combined mixture of garlic, onions, oil. We added white port and brandied orange sauce, our 400 grams of pork, our cranberries, our 40 grams of spinach, our pistachio nuts. I think it was 200 grams of pistachio nuts. We've also got to add mixed herbs to that, and it was meant to be 2 teaspoons of thyme, which we don't have, and I'm assuming this one has thyme in it. Yes, it does. Oregano, marjoram, whatever that is, thyme and sage. Do you know what marjoram is?
A herb.
Okay, so it smells like herbs. I can't tell the difference. So sage is good for spirituality. So there you go. How's the synchronicity of that? Sage. This dish is cleansing for bad energies. So there you go. And I don't even have to burn it because I'm cooking it, but I'm a good cook, so I'm not burning it. Okay, so that's my thyme equivalent added. Okay, so as you can tell, I've got the heat off. I'm just using this as a mixing bowl. Okay, I've also got to add an egg. I'm meant to mix it up, but I'm just going to sort of mix it up after I add it. So it's not going to make much of a difference whether it's beaten or not. So that's my egg. So that's just going to help bind that all together, because the more ingredients I was adding to it, the less liquid I had. Okay, so that's my terrine mixture basically. Okay, so now we've got our mixture that we've combined after heating those ingredients initially. So now we're going to add our recipe to the dish. We've got this laid out with prosciutto streaks, and we're going to put this in the middle of that. And if you have someone to help, that would be awesome. Obviously you've got to press down firmly. It smells interesting. I can smell the brandied orange sauce the most. Perhaps we shouldn't have put that in, but I wanted to use it. So literally all of, or just about all of the ingredients we're using tonight are about to expire. That's why we're using them. Okay, so this is our terrine mix, and we then press that down into the corners. As you can see, I've not greased the dish, instead I've lined with baking paper, and that's going to make it a lot easier to pull out of the dish. So that's basically our mixture. So you can see all the different colours in there, from the pistachio, the cranberry, spinach, pork, and it basically goes gelatinous or wobbly. We had terrine at our wedding, so just going to drop it, and by doing that, that's just helping it settle basically. What I'm doing now is folding the prosciutto across like that. The more you have, the better, because what you can even do is put, if I had another 4 slices, I'd put 2 under each one as well, and then there's a bit of crunchy overlap. So this is our overlapped one, and it's okay if it separates because you can kind of get creative and fill in the gaps. So that's basically it. So trying to cover all of the top, and then you just sort of pat it down. But that's basically our terrine, all set to put in the oven. So that's basically what it looks like. It's the wobbly mixture underneath that. And it's about that thick, in case you're curious to see what it looks like. So I'm going to put that in the oven now at 160 degrees for about an hour and a half. So that's the terrine cooking in the oven. So about 160 degrees for about an hour and a half. Okay, so let's have a look at that in our oven. So that's looking and smelling interesting. This is our cooked terrine. So we're going to taste that. We're just going to dig in. Okay, so I've just got a bit of terrine. Just going to taste that now, if you can see that there. So it's very hot. Okay. That's a little bit interesting. Don't know if I like it. The second bite was better.
You're supposed to let it cool down, so...
I'm supposed to let it cool down, so it's a bit... I'll wait for it to cool down first, and it's probably going to taste better with a bit of prosciutto with it. So far, I'm not sure whether I like it. So we'll try it again later when it's cooled down. Okay, so this is our terrine out of the oven. What we need to do now is flatten it down a bit. So we have this bit of baking paper, and we've also got a Himalayan rock salt block there, and we're just going to use that to weigh it down. So it's obviously in the middle, but we'll sort of try to disperse it out at the sides, and we're just going to have that there. So there we go, just doing that. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed that recipe. Let me know if you make terrines. Let me know what you do differently, what you put in yours. And let me know if you have any different techniques. So comment below. Please like the video. Please share with your friends. Please let me know if you'd like me to cook something, or cook something with you if you'd like to participate in a Rhonda's Readings cooking vlog. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rhonda's Readings. Thank you.
Pistachio bastards. Get in here. Get in here. Oh, get in there.
Hello and welcome to the vlog of Rhonda's Readings. And today's recipe is pork and pistachio nut terrine. These are my ingredients for my terrine. I have some pistachio sheets. I'm using that instead of bacon.
Prosciutto.
There's also 2 cloves of garlic crushed, but instead of that I'm using just 2 teaspoons of minced garlic.
I think you said cloves of garlic.
There's also cloves of garlic, but instead of using 2 cloves of garlic, so instead of the thyme, which we don't, is it thyme or thyme?
Thyme.
Instead of the thyme that we don't
Who's
have.
your daddy?
Who's your daddy? I read something about putting. Oh, I meant to add water. Place into baking dish, pour enough hot water into dish until water comes halfway up the sides of the terrine dish. Drain juices and replace foil. Oh bullshit, I think I'd rather just do this.
Yeah.
Okay, just read the instructions and I don't agree with them, so I'm just gonna do it like this. Filming the wrong head. So guess what we're gonna make with these ones, tahini and chickpea. Can you think of the hummus that start... Can you think of the dip that starts with H?